The Philadelphia Eagles kicked off the 2023 season with high hopes and a powerful start, thrilling fans with their dominance. But as the season progressed, everything fell apart in a shocking collapse that left fans in disbelief. Now, as they approach the 2024 season, the Eagles are ready for a comeback. Can they overcome last year's disappointment and rise to new heights? Join us as we explore the dramatic downfall of 2023 and the promise of a triumphant return in 2024. Let's get started.
Every single day, what am I doing to get better? How are we going to be the best in the world at what we do?
As the season kicked off, the Eagles came out strong with a 5-0 start, scoring an average of 28 points per game. Despite a rough period with a tough loss to the Jets in Week 6, they bounced back, winning 5 more games in a row. By the end of Week 12, they had an impressive 10-1 record. However, this is where things started to get controversial. Even though the Eagles were winning games, the way they were winning divided the fans. Some believed that a win is a win, and being able to win despite not playing perfectly was a sign of resilience. Others felt that this year's team wasn't as strong as last year's, and that there were problems that needed to be fixed. Eventually, those problems did come to light. After 3 straight losses, the Eagles' issues became impossible to overlook. The team's once dominant running game, which had been a cornerstone of their success in 2022, lacked both creativity and consistency. The Eagles' ground attack was no longer as effective as it used to be. They could not control the tempo of the game and failed to exhaust the opposing defenses like it had previously. Instead, the rushing offense had become predictable, often interrupting drives and putting unnecessary pressure on their passing game. In the air, the offense faced similar challenges. The passing routes were poorly designed, lacking the precision that had characterized their previous success. There was no rhythm or timing between the quarterback and receivers, leading to limited drives and missed opportunities. Perhaps in the most obvious manner, the Eagles rarely employed quick passes to counteract blitzes, a tactic that had proven effective in the past. Defensively, the fall from grace was even more pronounced. In 2022, the Eagles had led the lead in sacks and boasted one of the most horrifying pass defenses in the NFL. Fast forward through 2022, and the team had plummeted to 17th in sacks and a shocking 30th in pass defense in the year 2023. The once feared defensive front struggled to generate the same level of pressure on opposing quarterbacks, while the secondary, which had been a strength, became an obvious weakness. Their rush defense did improve slightly, moving from 17th in 2022 to 11th in 2023, but this small gain did little to mask the overall decline in their defensive performance. The Eagles' defense, which had been the backbone of their success, now looked disjointed and underperformed at crucial moments. Several factors contributed to the team's pass defense struggles. Injuries played a significant role as key players missed time and disrupted the unit's cohesion. Communication problems also became evident, leading to blown coverages and big plays for the opposition. Furthermore, the departure of Javon Hargrave, both starting safeties and both starting linebackers from the previous season, created a void that the Eagles struggled to fill. What was most surprising, however, was the drop in performance from the core players who had been pivotal during their Super Bowl run. Darius Slay and James Bradbury, once considered one of the strongest cornerback duos in the league, suddenly became targets for opposing quarterbacks. Their play lacked the same sharpness and tenacity that had once made them feared. The nickel position also suffered due to injuries, forcing the Eagles to rotate 6 different players into that role throughout the season, further disrupting the defense's stability. Even after the Eagles traded for Kevin Byard, a move intended to improve their under-pressure secondary play, the defense continued to struggle. The midseason changes in the team did little to manage the damage, as the defense remained inconsistent and vulnerable. The team that had started the season with a promising 10-1 record was now facing difficulty, unable to recapture the magic that had made them one of the league's most feared teams. The Eagles' season reached its lowest point in their wild card matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Eagles ended up losing 5 of their last 6 games. After a tough playoff loss that ended a disappointing season, the Philadelphia Eagles were left with a bad feeling. In the end, the 2023 season left the Philadelphia Eagles with more questions than answers. For 2024, head coach Nick Sirianni made bold moves by hiring 2 highly respected coordinators, defensive mastermind Vic Fangio and offensive innovator Kellen Moore. Additionally, they brought in several new position coaches and assistants to rejuvenate the coaching staff. While coaching issues were a significant part of the Eagles' struggles last year, it was clear that the roster itself had significant shortcomings that needed to be changed. Fortunately for the Eagles, general manager Howie Roseman was the right person for the job. After setting up the new coaching staff and collaborating on strategic plans, Roseman got straight to work, determined to retool and revitalize the team. We wanted to have a mentality offseason. We wanted to bring in people here who had a chip on their shoulder because we felt like we had a little bit of a chip on our shoulder, Roseman said. Not in a bad way, just in a way like we felt we wanted to do whatever we could to put ourselves in the best possible position for this year because we had a bad taste in our mouth the last year. It started in free agency, bringing in the free agents that we brought in, and we were looking for people in the draft who had that. And with that, it's a new year, and the Eagles have the same lofty goals. They've had change in the locker room. All-time greats Fletcher Cox and Jason Keeley retired, and Hassan Reddick, so important to the team in its Super Bowl run in the 2022 season, was traded to the New York Jets. But the Eagles took care of their own. In addition to signing and adding via trade more than a dozen veterans in free agency and 9 players in the NFL draft, they kept defensive end Brandon Graham, who's back for a franchise record 15th season. 5 players, offensive tackle Jordan Mailata, guard Landon Dickerson, wide receivers A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, and place kicker Jake Elliott, inked long-term contracts. But the real headliner was the addition of Saquon Barkley, the star running back from the division rival New York Giants, and he comes to Philadelphia after 6 seasons with the NFC East rival New York Giants. A 3-time 1,000-yard-plus rusher, a 2-time Pro Bowl player, and the 2018 NFC Offensive Rookie of the Year, after accounting for 2,028 yards from scrimmage and 15 touchdowns. Barkley comes to an offense loaded with weapons. Quarterback Jalen Hurts made his second Pro Bowl last season after establishing franchise records for total touchdowns, 38, and total yards, 4,463. And he has a plethora of receiving options at his disposal, with Brown, 106 receptions, 1,456 yards, and 7 touchdowns in 2023. Smith, 81, 1,066, and 7. And tight end Dallas Goedert, 59, 592, and 3, forming as potent a trio as any in the league. The offensive line has best in the NFL players in Mailata at left tackle, Dickerson at left guard, and Lane Johnson at right tackle. Third-year man Cam Jurgens is poised to become the starting center, with second-year man Tyler Steen among a crowded group of talented players to compete at right guard. Perhaps the most fascinating acquisition was former 11th overall pick Mekhi Becton, who joined this team on a 1-year prove-it deal. Though Becton's performance has been inconsistent in the past, the Eagles are confident in making him a key player, slotting him at right guard. Defensively, the Eagles saw the retirement of the legendary Fletcher Cox. Shortly after, Kevin Byard, who joined the team only recently, parted ways, and the Eagles made a statement by re-signing fan favorite Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to a 3-year contract. These moves were part of a broader strategy to reshape the defense. To fill the massive void left by Cox's departure, Roseman had already laid the groundwork with young talents like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. For the edge rusher position, second-year player Nolan Smith is expected to be a breakthrough. Roseman also made a splash by signing Bryce Huff to a great deal. Huff, who recorded 10 sacks last season, is seen as a player on the top of stardom, and with increased playing time, he could become the key player in the Eagles' new defensive strategy. The linebacker core also received a much-needed boost. The Eagles brought in seasoned veterans like Oren Burks, Zach Bond, and Devin White to add experience and stability. These veterans are expected to mentor Nakobe Dean, who, after battling injuries, is anticipated to have a major impact now that he's healthy. The secondary, a major concern heading into the offseason, was addressed with decisive action. It's believed that Gardner-Johnson's versatility and playmaking ability make him a cornerstone of the defense moving forward. When the NFL draft arrived, the Eagles continued to make smart, strategic moves. In their quest to solidify the secondary, they selected Quinton Mitchell, a top cornerback from Toledo, and Cooper Dean from Iowa, a versatile defensive back capable of playing multiple positions. Scouts were high on both these players, and the Eagles were thrilled to grab them. While these rookies still need to prove themselves on the NFL stage, the Eagles' draft strategy earned praise for addressing critical needs with high upside talent. As the season approaches, every team faces uncertainties. But with a revamped coaching staff, a refreshed roster, and a clear vision, start fast, finish strong, the Eagles are determined to make true on their promise for 2024. The Philadelphia Eagles began the 2023 season with big hopes and an impressive 10-1 record. But as the season went on, things took a turn for the worse, leading to a disappointing finish. Despite this, the team is determined to learn from last year's mistakes and prove they're still a top contender in the NFL. The road to redemption starts now. Drop your thoughts in the comment section, hit that like button, and subscribe for more thrilling football updates. Stay tuned for the next video.